3 iron after 3 iron after 3 iron. If I can hit 3 iron, I can hit anything. What does the first tee shot require? It's not a case of burning through all your energy, but at this point I want to bring in shot shape, big shapes. And then it's important, like I say, that you finish on the golf shot that you want to hit down that first hole. We are confirmed for the Good Midwest Open. Looking forward to it. Partner is locked in, more to come on that. But how am I going to prepare? How am I going to warm up for a round of golf? And that's what's bringing this week's video to you. How do you get to the golf course and warm up to ensure that everything's working, the club is moving in the way you want it, and then you're going to be able to accept the outcome of the golf shots that you want to have. A couple of things I've seen on the tour from great players that I'm going to touch on. But the first thing is, if you've got your full swing kit down or whatever launch monitor you choose, I want you to go with only one tile. That is the main thing. I know when we used to go to Mexico City for the tournament down there at altitude, I remember watching Dustin Johnson practice with his launch monitor, and he was only interested in one tile, and that was carry distance. Just trying to get a feel as to how to be a player and how far each club is going. So pick your target. For me, I always start with a sand iron, my 56 degree, and just put the golf ball out there. Just literally find the bottom, find the low point, and just hit some pitches. No particular target. You're literally just gonna hit them out there and get a feel for the ground. Now that brings me to another amazing legend of the game that I was able to work with, and what he would do. And I asked him about it, and I'm actually gonna do it today for you guys for the video, but I would not do this in person. I would probably hit 5 or 6 like I've just done there and go from there. But he would grab his 3 iron. He wouldn't use a tee. He would stand there, take one vicious golf swing, come behind it, and then hit 3 iron after 3 iron after 3 iron. And it was Tom Watson, one of the greatest players to play of all time. And I said to him, Tom, I gotta ask you, like, why do you loosen up? Over 55 years old at this point with a 3 iron. And he was like, if I can hit 3 iron, Trotty, I can hit anything. So he would literally start with his 3 irons. So that shows you an old school, different mentality. But for me, it's just a case of feel the low point, try not to think anything technique, and just pitch some golf balls out of there. Now, another great drill that you'll have seen before, hopefully, is another old school legend, Tom Lehman. And what he would do is try and land the golf ball on top of the one he's just hit. So creating a ladder. So as he would stand here and loosen up, he'd be like, right, I've just hit one out there at like 55 yards. Let's try and land this one on top of that golf ball that is just beyond that hill, and try and work on the yardages to build the ladder. And then as you do that, always start to check and confirm your numbers. So we've got 70 yards carry out of that last one. And then maybe start to bring in, I know it's about 90 yards to that back flag. So bring in a distance as you get more and more loose. Back flag is 90. Again, try not to think too much technique. And hit one out there and see if you can make the 90 and start to think about, well, where does the golf shot go? How close does it go to the target? What is the interaction like with the turf? 88 yards on my monitor, good stuff. Then move through the gears again. Always trying to change golf clubs, but not too many clubs advancing. So 56 degree is done at that point. I might now move to a pitching wedge. Change your number on your full swing. Again, not looking at any of the numbers unless something is diving out at you as a real problem, but I try not to read too much into technique. Same target, just over the blue flag, and start now with a nice pitching wedge. Plenty of practice swings in between if you want them. Just feel the move, look at what you're trying to do, and go. So we're not going flat out 100% speed, but we are just hitting golf shots without much of a care for target. Now, if you are working on anything in particular, before you get too deep into it, this can be the area at which you start to go with a simple drill. So for me right now, I might be working on connection. You've seen me use the Tour Striker ball and put that in for connection. So now I might go, a similar thing you can do here is with the towel, throw it in, or a glove, or you've seen Justin Rose tuck his shirt underneath his armpits. You can do the same thing like that. It's all for connection. So if you don't want to put a towel under because you think you look like an absolute muppet, no problem. Just simply tuck your sweater, jumper in the UK, under your armpits and go from there. So for me, I've got a towel under here. Yeah, I might look like a bit of a fool, but it is what it is. And then just try and feel the connection not completed it. Do it again. Work on that drill until you get the feel that you want. But look, if you're starting to rip the golf ball and you're hitting it great, like I'm actually very happy with those first few golf shots I hit, I might not even have gone for this. But if you are seeing a golf ball go a little errant, then just a simple drill, towel, much better. And just try and feel the connection, feel the ground. Notice how I've got my alignment sticks down here, happy with that, because it gives me, again, a reference point. So move through the gears down to 8 iron. I'll always jump a couple of clubs at a time rather than just stay in the one place. 8 iron comes in, same target, and at this point you want to bring in, and again you can see here I've not hit very many golf balls, but at this point I want to bring in shot shape. So I'd move back here behind it. I might take my extra alignment stick, place it out. Not something you have to do if you don't want to bring equipment to the range. You can do it with, I always like to have something physical in there and just start to think about, okay, what do I have to do now to hit a little draw around that stick? Completed that, happy, fade around the stick the other way. What do we have to do? Set up to it. Not bad, hated the strike. Go back through your routine. Like that, off you go. So you're creating a feel, but I do think once you then get through the basics, you now need to work into what reality is. What are the golf shots you're gonna hit? So 8 irons done, 6 irons grabbed, and look, it's damp out here today, so the turf is quite soft. So that's gonna reflect how the golf course is gonna play. So at this stage, as an awareness, if this was an actual reality, what I would want to do is maybe be a bit shallower. So how would I do that? Tee a ball up on quite a high tee and just work on trying to clip the ball off the tee. So I'd now be reacting to the ground conditions, and I'd be like, okay, now I've got my alignment sticks out because we know my alignment's good. Just give me something that clips the tee. And I'd hit 4 or 5 like that, trying to pick the golf ball off the top of the tee, but change a little bit what's happened so far, because you're always going to be getting information, you're always going to be getting feedback. But as long as you're moving, so again, in, target, pick. And again, if you're hitting the shallow one off the tee, rather than that would have been steep because it was left, let's go draw shape, draw shape. Lovely. The next thing I've seen some of the best, if not the best in the world, Tiger do, is he gets on a range. Yes, the 9 windows happens, but he'd also go for this. And it happened in Dubai, it was the first time I saw him do this. Big shapes. I remember watching him do this. And Dubai, the Emirates golf course, last hole, par 5, you need to hit a huge raking hook round the corner if you want to eagle it or birdie it to win and hit the green in 2. He goes on and wins that tournament. He obviously got invited quite a bit through the 2000s, but he would stand on the range and literally practice moving golf shots 20, 30 yards. So it's a nice temperature here today. The body's moving well. I can get down into, I've got choices here. So again, if you've got multiple clubs, take these out. Those 3 irons go out for me today. I'm going with my 770. And you're all the while, if you've got a caddy there for the day or if you're working on it, making the decisions on what clubs am I going to use? How am I going to play this golf course? So again, for me, I've turned up with extra clubs dependent on the golf course and how I want it. 770 3 iron is what I'm going to select. Not an easy club to hit. So I'll go off the tee for this one. Pick your shot, but maybe also create the shot. So now, as I'm getting to the top end of the golf bag, I'm not a player that goes wedges all the way to driver and then all the way back down again. I would go wedges up to driver, but I'd try and have some intent now with the golf shots. To this point, other than reading what the turf is doing and looking at a couple of yardages, there's been no real sort of intent. Now I'd start to get an idea for what is the intention of the golf shot. So try and stand back here. You've obviously got the 2 white markers out there at the Kingdom and the palm trees on the hill. Let's set a target. But what you can also do, which again I've seen great players do, is now mix up the targets. So let's stick with that palm tree first. 3 iron. down the target line. Not the best strike, but down the target line. Go again. Now I might change my target. Let's go over there to that yellow flag. Let's go low shot to the yellow flag. Not great. Let's start to rate the golf shots. Yellow flag again. Bring back an intermediate target just left of this marker, just left of that divot. Go through your routine. Pretty good. 3 wood. Are you going to use this club on the first tee? If you are, start to think about the first tee shot. What does the first tee shot require? 3 wood. See the golf shot. Try not to have too many swing thoughts at this stage. Happy with that, move on, driver. And again, it's not a case of burning through all your energy. It's a case of getting a routine, not rushing it, and being in a place where you're ready to play. So driver, first hole, I want to hit a little fade down here. So let's hit that little fade. Let's create that little fade. Get the feel, see the golf shot, positive thoughts. Watch it all the way down. Great result. Let's just make sure we can do the same with the draw. Is the first hole the draw? Okay, see it, positive thinking. Straight one with a slight draw, I'd take it, but you're always working the shapes. You're always trying to reposition. And then it's important, like I say, that you finish on the golf shot that you want to hit down that first hole, hit it, pick up your stuff, and then move to the tee. Now for me then, I would go chipping green, or I'd hit a couple of chips if I hadn't been there before, depending on the location of the golf course, and I'd go putting green. When I putt, I'd always finish with a putt that's very makeable. I would try not to practice the 7 feet to 15 feet length, because tour average will tell you that's not always gonna go in. Sometimes things can bobble and miss. If I was getting the pace of the putt, I would putt probably to the fringe, so I'm not putting too much pressure on the outcome, but I would always finish with that sound of the ball going in the hole. I would test, which I've done a lot on the green, can I dribble the putt over the front edge? Can I hit the back of the hole and go in? And can I get it at dead weight? Do the 3 different paces, all from makeable putt. And again, I've seen the best players in the world do that. Jason Duffield would often come on and he'd start with a putt that was this long, just to get the feel and the sound of the ball going in the hole. So do that and then move to the first tee and recreate that golf shot that you left on the driving range. That's the best way to prepare. What's gonna happen in your round of golf is gonna happen. You cannot change anything about the way your body's moving, the way you're going through the turf. Yes, have a feel for it. Turf's soft today. I now know what the golf course is going to be like. All of that is great, but at the end of the day, you're trying to build confidence here. So I think it's important that you speak to yourself in the right tone, be your own best caddy on the range, and prepare in the right way to go and shoot your best score. Hopefully, you can take all this to practice and it works for you. Recreate the game here and then go out and shoot low.